Many greetings, all you One Piece fans out there. I'm Duuz-Diz-Din coming at you with another One Piece review. This time it's chapter 934 titled Hyogoro of the Flowers. We have a cover page that has Usopp just kind of chilling out, which, given the current state of One Piece as a whole, doesn't really happen that often, with all the preparations to finally take down Kaido and Orochi. But we actually open up on something fairly interesting. That's always fun to see, and that's the bad guys, or the adversaries as it were, talking it up with each other and planning their next move. Namely, the Big Mom family, the Big Mom pirates, discussing the fact that they have misplaced Big Mom. Whereas we come to find out several of their devil fruit users did end up plunging into the sea when they were knocked down the waterfall by King. And the fact that they're pretty surprised that they managed to make it out without completely capsizing. So, nothing if not a little bit of luck. But they also note the fact that Big Mom's Viva card is still intact, showing that she is still alive. So a nice little bit of continuity there, given the fact that it's just like they easily could have written her off as dead. But we have several of the members just discussing the fact that, it's just like, what will happen to Big Mom since she's now lost in enemy territory? With a lot of them just kind of debating whether or not they should go on possibly without her, as she might end up dying within the land of Wano, with Perospero noting the fact that he wants to take over command as he is the first son. So he assumes that he should be the one to take command in Big Mom's absence, with Daifuku adamantly saying, no, it should be Katakuri, Dogtooth, who takes over, because he is obviously the most powerful out of all of them. However, Smoothie takes a lot of offense to this, saying it's just like, stop trying to kill off Mom. Don't put your normal conventional thoughts and reasonings to someone like her, which is just like, at first it sounds like a display of loyalty from her, only to come off as she's just like, yeah, Big Mom's a complete and total monster, so don't ever assume to put normal human logic to that thing. So it's just like it's so interesting to get the perspective of Charlotte Linden's children in a lot of these instances, where it's almost very much Luffy-esque in terms of how they address her sometimes, as if she's just not as involved in their day-to-day operations, but they still rally behind her. She's like problematic, but we still follow her lead and command, which is very much how the Straw Hats work from time to time. So I feel that that's a bit of a parallel there. We then cut back to Tama's master, who is just absolutely adamant about Tama not joining in the, basically the raid on Udon. He's just like, no, Tama should not be involved in any of that, nothing of the like, and Tama is very adamant about wanting to go. Momosuke's like, master, it's okay, it'll be completely fine. Momosuke's just like, I'll go, it'll be cool, blah, blah, blah. Tama's just like, I'm a Konoichi, I'll protect Momosuke. He's just like, you're not even remotely a Konoichi. What are you saying? And Kikyu's just like, no, I got this, don't worry about this. And honestly, the master is being completely rational, because it's just like, no, you're little children. Get the fuck out of there. You should have no involvement whatsoever in anything like that. Especially if in terms of raiding a prison, I don't care how strong this Big Mom person, as you put it, is. So he has no idea about the danger they're in just being in the vicinity of Big Mom. Speaking of which, we see that she managed to tame one of the giant monsters of the wasteland, a giant crocodile, with a couple of hits to the head, and they're all traveling to Udon. And Big Mom's actually been side-eyeing Chopper with just drooling because the trip to Udon's gonna take a little bit of time. So she's just like, yeah, I'm getting a little hungry. So having war flashbacks to Whole Cake Island right there and then, man. And we actually get to see an entire map of Wano country, of the various divisions and lands within the country of Wano, which actually, all things considered, actually make Wano seem a lot smaller than I initially thought if the various regions are anything to go on. Maybe it's just a matter of perspective and how the country is just split up, but then again, the world of One Piece is always divided up into these island countries that as a whole, don't seem as massive as you would normally think they'd be. This world is more water than anything else, whereas our world is, made up a good amount of water. The One Piece world just has even more ocean. It's just that much more ocean as a whole. So they're on their way to Udon. Momosuke is, training, and he's giving out this battle cry called Snatch, which is just like, what? Kiku's just like, where did you learn that? And as it turns out, it was Zoro who taught it to Momosuke as a cry that would, leave his adversaries trembling or, create a trembling within Momosuke's heart. But Kiku forbids him from saying something like that, and her justification is that it's something from an older dialect from Wano country. And apparently it's not something that Momosuke should be using, which sounds a little weird. Like, what relation would that kind of terminology have? I mean, when I hear the word snatch, I'm thinking about something kinda out there, so I have to wonder, what connection this word that Zoro taught Momosuke actually has as a whole. So we need to get back to that. What connection does Zoro have with the world of Wano and the older times within it? Because we always questioned what Zoro's connection to Wano has to be. Because there's obviously some connection, and we know nothing of Zoro's backstory. So now would be the time to find out some information as to where Zoro comes from and his whole lineage and all that good stuff. We then cut off to the Ringo division of Wano, where all the graves and stuff like that, where we have the whole crew just hiding out, addressing the death of Komurosaki, and the fact that, it stated the fact that Kyoshiro as a whole is very much unknown to the older samurai of Wano. He's more of a newer thing. And the boss of the Yakuza 20 years ago was a man called Hyogoro of the Flowers, which Brooke notes is a very fanciful name as a whole. But, they question the fact of what they should do from here on out, whether or not they should have left Otoko still in the red light district, since she is now basically a fugitive. So I'm like, yeah, why would you guys just let her go back home, all things considered? Especially since she's incurred the wrath of the Shogun. But, they question if, the Shogun would actually go around chasing a little child, which, yeah, he probably will. She's probably in danger. I don't know why you guys would leave her just to go back home. That's probably not the smartest thing. But then, Nami notes that she wants to just go and take a bath and rest and take it easy, so Shinobu notes that they'll probably have to disguise themselves. We also have Robin lamenting the fact that she doesn't feel like she was able to get too much information, despite the fact that she got, you know, the timetable for when Orochi wakes up and his morning routine, the whole situation with the Shogun's procession to Onigashima, how the banquet's being organized, how many, the number of people in their army, as well as the amount of weaponry. It's just like, no, she managed to get a lot of stuff and a lot of information, and it just shows how much of a dedicated hard worker that Robin is, if she considers that amount of information to be a paltry amount, all things considered. But then we have Brook note the fact that while he did manage to find a polyglyph, it was not one of the road polyglyphs. So that confirms their suspicion that one of the road polyglyphs must be on Onigashima under the watchful eye of Kaido himself. Much like how Big Mom's road polyglyph was very close to where she was at. That way she could be there in a moment's notice. And apparently it's hidden. And apparently the regular polyglyph is hidden behind some massive door within the Flower Capital, palace. And then we have the fallout, as so many people within the capital are just mourning the loss of Komurasaki as a whole. Ding Dong, the courtesan's dead. People cursing out Boss Kyoshiro's name, despite the fact that if you were to do so, you might just end up executed. So, at great risk to themselves, they just love Komurasaki that much, which feels once again like it solidifies the fact that she's probably not dead. You can't have a character like that just killed off like that and not have any true fallout besides some people mourning her death. It seems a little suspect. And Sanji's also a little broken up about the whole situation. But he quickly gets over it, as it's very apparent that he's very tempted to use his new raid suit in order to infiltrate the women's bath, where he knows that Nami and Robin will be at. We also come to find through the newspaper that Eustace Kid has managed to escape from the prison of Udon, and with everyone else kind of wondering why Luffy wasn't mentioned as well. So, Kid has already booked it, which is actually very odd. Well, not so much odd, but I have to wonder where he's going, what he's doing, and how he managed to escape within us just off screen. I would have loved to see him bust out of there. But apparently Luffy's just kind of sticking with, just being in the prison, which leaves a lot of questions there as well, why he didn't just bust on out of there. We also see that Luffy is getting the third degree from some of the, guards there, because they're pretty pissed off about the fact that Kid managed to escape. And they're basically questioning if Luffy had any involvement or knowledge about the whole situation. Meanwhile, we see that Old Man Hio is getting to kind of beat down because a lot of people don't believe that he was able to do enough in order to earn the amount of dongos that he got. So they're just like, oh, you're cheating, you should only work for your fair share, you're breaking the rules. They knock the dongos to the ground and all that, but Hio continues to eat them because he's just like, no, that man gave up his dongos to me. It would be an insult not to just waste his kindness and all that. So we're having a very desperate moment from Hio, especially given the fact that he just hasn't eaten it all this time. And so as he's just eating it off the ground, one of the guards is just like, what are you doing? Are you trying to make fun of us? What are you, they're just beating down this old man and making an example out of him, which is just kind of like, yo, he's an old man. What are you doing? But Hio is sticking to his guns, not wanting to rat out who gave him the meal tickets. And he, notes the fact that meeting Luffy has kind of, welled up a lot of feelings with him in him. The feelings of his old self, Hyogoro of the Flowers, which, shows that he was a former mob boss. He used to have Kyoshiro's job back in the day. And it's just, he's kind of been, emboldened to Luffy and has just become beholden to Luffy as a whole, because it's just like, Luffy reminds me of a day when Wano was just a greater place, when men were men and, had a lot of faith, and just this land was freer when, guys like you were here, when we were truly the land of samurai. So just that honorable period where there wasn't that invasion, where there were a lot more noble people out there in the world, the time of Odin and all that good stuff. So that's, that time when the people had pride, when samurai roamed the lands and, fought in honorable combat and all that good stuff. But Luffy, seeing this, immediately, with this massive grin on his face, just goes charging in immediately, like he's just ready to throw down, like he was looking for an excuse to throw down. And as this happens, in comes Queen, of all people. Queen has arrived at the prison. So we're finally possibly gonna see just what Queen can actually do. But this is an unfortunate situation on Luffy's part, because, Queen's obviously arrived because of the situation going on with Kid. And we also, can see more clearly Queen's mechanical arm and all that good stuff. So, maybe we'll find out what kind of capabilities Queen's arm has, and maybe even Queen's devil fruit too. But this is bad tidings for Luffy, as they, it's been stated before. It's just like, for any insubordination, first we'll cut off one arm, then another, then your legs, and all that stuff. So, Luffy's in for the fight of his life after, as Queen has arrived. But unfortunately, One Piece is on hiatus. Will be on break next week, so we'll have to wait to the week after next. But lots of stuff in this chapter. Lots of really important stuff has gone down here. We see that Sanji finished his fight with Page One off screen of all things, so I'm kind of annoyed about that. I would have loved to see that gone down. But apparently he made it out no worse for wear. And, the capital's mourning Kurosaki's death. Chopper and the others are making their way to Udon. Given the fact that Queen is already there, we're probably gonna see some big massive event with a showdown between Queen and Luffy because of what Luffy's doing with Old Man Hio. Just lots and lots of, little things here and there that are just setting things up for later down the line. Not to mention the whole situation with the big mob pirates, who are just like, well, we can't really go up the waterfall because, we can't really get in with King patrolling the waterfall. So at least that leaves King kind of indisposed for the most part. But eventually he's going to have to go back. So we'll just have to see what happens from here on out. There's just so many little things here and there. But if nothing else, the biggest ticking time bomb is just Big Mom. Because it's noted the fact that Napoleon is sleeping on her head and just has been very silent this entire time. So it makes you wonder what Napoleon is waiting for. Did he also get amnesia? Is he just biding his time for some reason? Very interesting, because it's very much pointed out to us. And, anyone who worth their salt in One Piece lore it would be questioning the fact that Napoleon, who is sentient, hasn't said anything. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens from here on out. But hey, if you liked it, tell me what your thoughts in the comment section below. What thing of note do you think is very much just pops out to you in terms of what we've seen thus far? What do you think will be the next big plague factor within the next few chapters? Just leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you liked this video, feel free to leave me a like. And if you did, feel free to leave me a dislike and tell me what I did wrong in the comment sections below, where I might better myself for future videos. And hey, how about subscribing? Because I'll definitely be bringing you more One Piece chapter reviews in the near future. But until then, thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.